Football? Do you like football?
I love football, yeah. I played a lot of football in my life. Quite a fan. It's a strange World Cup, isn't it? I thought Paul Hawkins did really well there, reporting from Doha. It's obviously very, very hot. We're playing, or the English are playing Iran at 1 p.m. today. Wales are playing the US, of course, at 7 p.m. I just wanted to focus on Wales for a little bit because, of course, we tend to focus on England more just because it's a bigger nation. The last time Wales played in the World Cup was in 1958. And they got to the quarter-finals, they did really well, and they lost to the eventual winners, Brazil, but they only lost 1-0, and guess who scored the goal?
No idea.
Pelé.
Really?
A young Pelé. It's when Pelé really burst onto the scene in 1958 against the Welsh. And he actually complimented the Welsh team afterwards on how well they did. And, of course, you know, England will be the focus of most of the broadcast media over the next few weeks in the World Cup. But I'm not Welsh. Actually, I'm from an Irish background, as you know. The Republic of Ireland aren't there, Northern Ireland aren't there, the Scots aren't there. When I was growing up, it was always the Scots at the World Cup in 1974 and 1978. I won't ask you if you remember that, Bev, because that would not be chivalrous, would it? but it's a shame that all the home nations aren't there, and indeed the Republic of Ireland aren't there. But at least the Welsh are there alongside the English, and I hope they do really, really well.
And we've got all this controversy, obviously, bubbling around all of this football. We've got a Twitter poll running, actually, asking for your input on whether you think the players should be wearing these One Love armbands. They've just been told that they can't, but should they? Joe, a lot of people justified going, right? The footballers said, we know it's a bit morally dubious, but we're going to go anyway because we're going to make a statement. And now they can't make that statement. Does it put them in an impossible position? Do you think, what would you do if you were them?
Well, I think when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I think they should go by the rules of the country. I mean, FIFA must have paid such a lot of money to be paid from Qatar, such a lot of money. So I think they just have to, you know, go by the rules.
But, of course, the rules there are that it's illegal to be gay.
I know.
And now the players are saying, we want to make a statement about the fact that we support homosexual rights, and they've said, no, you can't do it.
Aren't they going to kneel, though?
But they're still going to kneel for Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Layla, what do you think?
Look, I think if it was in support of LGBTQ+, then go ahead and wear it and take the fine. If it's a protest against the human rights laws in Qatar, then what are you doing there in the first place? Boycott the World Cup. That's the way I see it, because, you know, the only way I can justify us being there is that we're not there, we're there, you know, not in spite of it, but because of the rights. So we're going to sort of put a spotlight on these human rights. But then we played in Russia in 2018, which are almost the same. You know, it's just...
We've had two Olympics. We had Beijing 2008 Summer Olympics. We had the Olympics, the Winter Olympics in China this year as well. Do you think, Liam, we should just make sport apolitical again? I kind of miss those days.
I think a lot of sports fans are going to look at this, and with the best will in the world... And, of course, everybody wants people's rights upheld, but a lot of sports fans are going to be thinking, crikey, I wish the middle-class chatter-arses would just leave football alone. It's about the sport, and sport brings people together, whatever the politics. It's not just a case of a fine if Harry Kane wears this armband. He's going to get a yellow card every time he wears it, which means he'll actually, even if he gets no other yellow cards, because he'll accumulate 2 yellow cards in the games against Iran today and the Americans on Friday, then he'll miss the England-Wales game. I mean, you're actually messing with the sporting outcome. And, you know, obviously I wish Qatar was different. I've travelled in the Middle East a lot. But we've got to put this in context. I'm going to be absolutely slated for saying this, but it's just a fact. A lot of the rest of the world will be looking on at the West and thinking this is really hypocritical of the West. And, you know, let's just point out where we were. When England won the World Cup in 1966, homosexuality was illegal in the UK. Of course that's changed. Of course it's for the better that it's changed. You know, I think very, very few people in the UK would say they don't want that, though some would, of course. But the vast majority of people wouldn't. And I think a lot of the rest of the world will look on this as sort of Western moralising, which is to take nothing away from, you know, the cause that it's espousing. I do have to finally, I'd say, for a lot of players who are slightly iffy about going to Qatar, I think the rows about the armbands sort of quell their conscience a little bit. So I think there's a lot of hypocrisy here on both sides. It does seem to be resolved. Harry Kane won't be wearing the One Love armband. I think the England team will be wearing the sort of, collective armbands that have been approved by the UN. Can we just get on with the football, please?
Yeah, I know.
Can we just watch the football?
So.
I know.